Hello and welcome to Starting Well in Your Online Classroom for best practices in teaching online. I'm Tanya Groves and I'll facilitate this presentation. In order to start well in your online classroom, you need to know that online learning can and should be relational. As a matter of fact, online learning experience can and should be high touch. It is possible to get to know your students online, to demonstrate the love of Christ to them, and to facilitate a learning experience that is rich and as valuable as a face-to-face one. One of the greatest dangers for online learners is to feel isolated. You can combat this by making your learners feel attended to and by building in three types of interaction: student to instructor, student to content, and student to student interaction. According to Paloff and Pratt, the intent is to create a sense of connection with learners who are otherwise separated by time and space. Presence is associated with effective instruction online, greater depth of learning, and learner satisfaction with the online learning process. Also, you really can be yourself online. I've been teaching online for many years now, but the first online course I taught was awkward. I'd never taken an online course, and I came across as stiff and removed. When I started sharing myself with my students online, prayer requests, things going on in my spiritual walk, a picture of my family, etc., and asking the same of the students via introductions and/or on discussion forums, everything fell into place, and my online class began looking more like a community of learners. The online environment really, in some ways, is the great equalizer. In many face-to-face classes, only a few students speak, and then the professor has to call on the others. In an online environment, students who don't speak don't get the points. Online students don't have to fear other responses to how they look or speak, act or dress, and that can be very empowering. As the instructor, you need to establish presence in your online courses. We'll talk more about this in the slides to come, but you want to show your students that you are present and attending to them and their concerns in your online courses. Being present not only reduces potential learner isolation, but it also helps to build learner trust, confidence, satisfaction, and community. In order to establish presence, you need to have contact information that is readily available on the course site. There's always a spot on your Moodle course that has a direct link to your contact information, and you need to ensure that the information is up to date. I like to post this on my first welcome announcement as well. Also, you need to post timely and consistent responses to discussion forum postings. While you don't want to dominate the discussion forums because those are primarily for students to interact with one another, it's helpful to post comments asking follow-up questions, praising when there's an extraordinarily thoughtful post or discussion, correcting misinformation, etc. The point is to post enough so that the students know you're reading their posts and tracking their conversations. Also, it's best practice to use weekly announcements. I post a weekly announcement to begin the next week of the course, and then I open the next week after I've sent the announcement. This announcement and the opening of each week, instead of having them all open at one time, helps to keep the class to feel fresh and timely. The announcements often go over in a broad way what we will be doing that week, offer some sort of encouragement for me in the form of a favorite Bible verse or hymn, and they head off some questions I've received before. These go to everyone's email inbox, so I'm then able to file them for the next time I offer the class. Offer a timely, warm response to student emails. Responding quickly to student emails really helps them to feel attended to and helped. I know it might sound silly to you, but I once had an online instructor who always responded to my questions by typing, "Hello, Tanya," with an exclamation mark. That simple response, which personalizes the instructor's response by using my name and implies enthusiasm to my request due to the exclamation mark, is something I've copied with my own students ever since. I use emoticons, smiley faces and such, when warranted, and I try to convey that they aren't bothering me with their questions. I'm happy to help them better understand. And then finally, a timely response to student assignments helps to establish good instructor presence. You'll notice my use of the word timely a few times throughout this presentation. It's so helpful to have a couple of times a week devoted to online work. My students' work primarily is due on Wednesdays and Fridays, so I try to carve out time on Thursdays and Saturdays committed to grading online work. It does really help to fall into a rhythm. I try to respond to student emails within 24 hours max and student assignments within 3 days. Obviously, it's hard to follow that with big assignments like projects or essays, but I still try. Next, in order to start off well, you want to start the introductions form before class ever starts. A week prior to the class beginning, I have this form up and ready and send out my own introduction. This is a way for community formation to occur before class ever starts. It works so well that I started doing it for my face-to-face classes as well. I encourage every student to respond to at least 2 others, although I find that many students respond to many others. Generally, these learners are quite comfortable socializing online, and this activity speaks to something that they already do well. You want to respond to every student and welcome him or her to the class. I generally don't respond to every student posting except in the introduction forum activity. I want to welcome each student to class and comment at least one thing they posted. And also you want to introduce yourself well. I introduce myself and I don't limit my introduction to my credentials. I share my likes, my dislikes, my favorite Bible verse, my favorite books. I also always upload a picture of my family. And encourage pictures. While you don't have to require them, I strongly encourage them. It's rare that a student doesn't post more than one, actually. Also, in order to start well, you want to make your expectations clear right away. For assignment turnaround, it's helpful for students to know when you'll be ideally able to respond to their assignments and to be consistent about it. Contact hours. If you want your online students to be able to contact you on the phone, be clear about when you're available. I also want students to know that I typically don't check my email on Sunday so that they know if they send me a question on a Sunday, they'll have to wait until Monday for an answer. Discussion forum postings. Later on in this course, we'll show you some rubrics to use for your online discussions. Letting the students know right away what you expect in regard to participation, quality, and quantity of online discussion forum postings is very helpful. The type of course it is, and extensions. I let students know right away via announcements and then a few more times throughout the class that this is an online learning group course, and as such there are firm assignment deadlines. I rarely give extensions for my courses. Making students aware of these expectations and course realities cuts down on the students who then ask for or expect extensions. And then finally, when you'll turn on each week, I try to keep this fairly standard. Students may expect that each new week will be turned on either Thursday evening or Friday morning for the next week. This helps them to plan their work and/or school schedules around the work due for my class, if necessary. Additionally, in order to start well, you might consider posting rules of netiquette. Netiquette is simply online etiquette, and it's helpful for students to understand the rules by which they should be adhering, particularly so that they know they shouldn't be using text speak in emails or on the discussion forum, how they should address you. I laugh at this point because I think of the many high school students who started his emails to me by saying, "Hey, Tanya." I've posted my rules of netiquette in this week as an attachment. For instance, please don't post all in capital letters. This is called flaming and is similar to yelling at someone. Please use sentence case. That's an example of netiquette. Also, you want to send a first week's announcement. Your introduction and the first week's announcement will set the tone for the rest of the class. Be clear with your expectations, but encouraging in your delivery. And then also begin cultivating your electronic personality. Your electronic personality is just simply how you come across online. As an introvert, I find it easy to be warmer, funnier, and more responsive online. However, no matter your personality type, you can convey it in discussion forums, introductions, announcements, responses to email and assignments through technology tools like VoiceThread, and even in photos and video or audio clips. There are many ways to convey your personality online, and doing these things will help you to become comfortable in your online course, and it will convey concern for your online students. Also, you want to point students to resources. Your online courses should always have links to the help desk, to Alpha Center's OWL online writing support, to CAPS and DOS, and any other resources that would be particularly helpful for your content areas, such as LibGuides. Linking to these online resources means that help is only a click away. And then finally, feel free to spend time creating community. Whether you're spending time welcoming students to the class via the discussion forum or structuring a collaborative learning activity, this is time well spent. As you begin teaching your online course, you want to be building a community of learners that will support each other throughout the weeks to come. All of these suggestions will help you to start your classes on the right note and help your learners to attain a sense of comfort and trust in the fact that you do care about them. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing you online.